Hello, my friends, and welcome to another devotional connection. I want to share something with you as I was going through Job chapter 38. Now, if you haven't read Job chapter 38, it is the chapter in which God comes down and consults, isn't a good word, converses with Job. And it's not even so much as a conversation as a one-sided discussion with Job. And before we even get into it, I'm not one of those people who believes that God came down and yelled at Job. That's not it at all. And the reason that I was even going through this morning is because I felt like I was getting a little full of myself. There are times in my journey where you get to thinking you know something and you just need a hard reset. And Job 38 is one of those chapters that provides me with a hard reset for myself, because every time I go through it, I am reminded that I don't even know the questions to ask to find out what it is that I don't know. God is absolutely more than I can even imagine. Job chapter 38, verse 22, for example, talks about God asking Job, do you know where I keep the storehouses of snow? Where are the storehouses of hail? And that could be metaphoric. That could be completely true and honest. That could be just God trying to open Job's mind to his lack of knowledge and understanding. Or it could be all three. I don't even know. Are there warehouses of snow somewhere in God's domain? Was he being metaphoric? It's amazing to just think about the questions that you don't even know to ask while you think you know something. I often used to wonder why in prayers in the Bible, and Psalms in particular, David was one of those who went in from the heart, why he was always recounting the promises of God. Why are you praying to God back the promises? If he is a God of his word, why are you telling him what he already knows? Why are you telling him what he is already holding himself accountable to, his promises and his word? And then it dawned on me one day, they aren't recounting them for God's sake, they're recounting them for their own. And that's why I look at Job differently. I look at Job from the view of a father who was about, his son, after all he had been through, was about to lose faith. He had held on this entire time and he's about to lose heart. He's down and out, and the father comes down and recounts to him who he is, thereby showing Job who he is in God. Sometimes he has to remind us of who he is. There's an old story of my father that I've shared before, but it's just him reminding me of who I am in him and how that fact alone gave me strength. Sometimes we need to remind ourselves, despite what we see, despite what we're going through, despite what we think, despite what we think we know, we need to stop and remind ourselves of who God is. Before we question God, question your question. Question the reason that you're questioning him. Question the question that you're going to question him, because you don't want him to come down and have to remind you of who he is like he did Job. That must have been an intense moment in Job's life, because Job said nothing, hid his face, and apologized. Doesn't matter what we see. Doesn't matter what we think. Doesn't matter what we feel. Remember who your God is. Remember who you are in him. Remember his promises. Recount them to yourself if you need to. And let him be God and you be his servant. Talk to you again soon.